I've been trying to tell someone this for 7 months, but every time I sat down to write, I stopped, because I haven't forgotten what happened. On the contrary, everything is still clear in my mind in an unnatural way. So clear that it shouldn't be like any normal person's memory. The problem is somewhere else. I still feel what we found should have stayed buried underground. And since we dug it out, something has happened to us. Our team of 4 entered that old records wing. Now 2 of them are dead. One of them died in a way that neither the doctor nor the coroner could explain. And the most terrifying thing, the hospital where we worked, they now claim there was never any such place called the records wing. My name is Joel Brandt. I used to work as a medical records technician at Hollowfield Memorial Hospital in Dayton. I say used to because I don't work anywhere now. I haven't been able to hold a single job since February. My hands shake so much that I can't type properly. And most mornings, I start crying before I even wake up. Yet I don't even know why I'm crying. My therapist says it's PTSD. Maybe so, but PTSD means the trauma's over. And I'm not certain whether mine is over. Anyway, let me start from the beginning. In August 2023, I got a job at Hollowfield Memorial Hospital. A normal hospital, the kind that exists in almost every American city. Big, but not important enough that anyone would remember it separately. The building was old. Over time, new sections had been added and joined together until the place looked almost like a stitched-up corpse. You could tell which decade each corridor was built in just by looking at the floor tiles. In our workspace, the basement, everyone called the place the pit. Long, dark corridors, old file cabinets, dusty archive boxes. Under fluorescent lights, everything looked as if the place was still stuck in the 90s. Our job was to scan old patient files and upload them to the digital system. Sounds easy. But day after day, going through the medical records of dead people, at some point you start to feel the place is staring back at you. The work was boring, but the pay was unusually good. $17 an hour in Dayton, Ohio. No degree needed, no experience required, just scanning files. Even during the interview, I felt there must be some problem behind such an easy job. The HR woman, Dana Briggs, was smiling in a strange way, speaking so fast as if she wanted me to agree before I could think about anything. Very simple work, she had said. Scan, upload, you won't even notice time passing. In the interview, she had casually mentioned something that afterwards never left my head. She had said certain parts of the basement were off limits. Old storage area, she had said. There's old equipment, chemicals, some environmental hazard. She said it so normally, as if she were giving information about a broken vending machine on the 3rd floor. Just stay in your own work area and you'll be fine. I had nodded. I didn't understand then. Some places aren't closed to keep people away. They're closed to keep what is inside from getting out. There were 5 of us on the team. Marcus Dean, a quiet middle-aged man, wore the same brown jacket every day. He looked like he hadn't slept properly for many years. Sophie Voss, age 26, questioned everything and had a habit of going exactly where she wasn't allowed. Raj Patel was the youngest, made jokes about everything, even when there was nothing to joke about. But when it came to work, he was unusually fast. And there was Ellen Marsh, the only person among us who had actually worked with medical records before. And she was the first to realize something was wrong. The first few weeks passed quietly. Every morning at 8, we entered the pit, pulled out old files, scanned them, uploaded them. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead. The scanner kept running, and slowly it began to feel like the basement was breathing. The file cabinets made metallic sounds when pulled. Doing the same task over and over, at some point your head would go almost empty. I would put in earbuds and listen to podcasts and the hours would somehow melt away. The files were completely normal too. Patient reports, surgery papers, lab results, billing records, thousands of files. Some were so old that the papers still carried the scent of 1980s perfume. And the doctor's handwriting? It hadn't improved one bit in 40 years. We worked section by section, alphabetically. Each section of the basement was divided separately. Everything disorganized but manageable. By late September, we had finished much of the work. Supervisor Keith Ober was very pleased about that. The man was the kind of manager who always spouts corporate buzzwords, but doesn't actually understand anything. He never stayed in the pit for more than 10 minutes. It seemed the place made him uncomfortable. Everything changed in the first week of October. I can remember that day clearly because from that day, the lights in our section started flickering strangely. An electrician came and said it was old wiring. Nothing dangerous, he had said, but even after that, the lights never returned to normal. That day, Ellen was working in the M section. Suddenly, the sound of the scanner stopped. The entire basement had only the humming of the fluorescent lights. "Joel?" I looked up. There was something in Ellen's voice that I hadn't heard before. I went to her desk. An old manila folder lay open in front of her. The label read, Martinez, Elena R. D.O.B., March 14th, 1987. "What happened?" I asked. Ellen didn't say anything, just pointed her finger at a page of the file, then very slowly said, "The problem isn't this patient. The problem is, this person shouldn't exist. Read the admission date." I leaned in and looked. November 2nd, 1994. "So?" I said. "Admitted in 1994. Ellen slowly said, "Now read the date of birth again. March 14th, 1987. I stayed quiet for a few seconds. Then as the calculation clicked in my head, something cold stirred inside my chest. The girl was 7 years old then. And written below was, prenatal care, high-risk pregnancy monitoring. I read it again, then again, a 7-year-old girl, admitted for pregnancy monitoring? Typo, I said. This must be a typo. But even as the words came out of my mouth, I didn't believe them myself. Ellen gave no answer. She just opened the pages inside the file and showed me. Lab reports, hormone tests, ultrasound notes, doctor's comments, everything perfectly in order. Perfectly consistent. Every page was saying the same thing. In 1994, a 7-year-old girl named Elena Martinez was a high-risk pregnancy patient at Hollowfield Memorial. My throat had gone dry, but the strange thing wasn't just this. The file felt different, unusually heavy. A small admission record shouldn't have so many pages, and the papers were also different. Too white, too new, as if time hadn't properly worked on them. Ellen then pulled out another file, same name, same date of birth, but a different admission date. June 17, 1991. I stared at the numbers for a few seconds, then understood. In 1991, Elena Martinez's age was 4 years old. The reason for admission in the second file was written as post-operative recovery bilateral procedure. Below was written, see attached surgical notes. There were no surgical notes. Ellen had been staring silently at the file for a long time. Then slowly said, 2 separate files, same patient, 2 impossible events. There was no fear in her voice, rather a kind of calm that people use when they're trying to convince themselves there's a normal explanation for everything. I said, let's pull out the rest of the files in the MA section. We searched the entire drawer and then understood. This wasn't a single mistake. Among nearly 300 files, 11 had the same problem. Different names, different dates of birth, but the same impossibility. A 2-year-old child's file had 6 years of dialysis treatment records, meaning treatment had started before the child was even born. A psychiatric evaluation report for an infant, written 4 years before the birth. Thomas Whitfield's file had a heart surgery discharge report from 1990, but his date of birth was 1992. The worst thing was, there were no errors in the files. Everything was perfectly consistent. Every report, every note, every signature matched each other. The impossible thing was only understood when you calculated the dates. I showed everything to Sophie and Raj. Sophie said at the very first file, "This is terrifying." Raj was still looking for logic. "Could be an old database migration error," he said. "Maybe different patients' records got accidentally merged." I shook my head. "No, these aren't merged files." I picked up a folder. "These are complete life histories. as if someone sat down and wrote medical histories for people who couldn't have existed that way. A few seconds passed with no one speaking. Then Sophie very quietly said, "Why would anyone make fake medical records?" That was the only question. Why? Ellen had said we should set the files aside and inform Keith. That was the protocol. If you find an abnormal record, flag it. Then the supervisor decides. Your job is just to scan, not to investigate. We did exactly that. Set the files aside, then try to get back to work. But the problem was, once you find something abnormal in the middle of monotonous darkness, your mind won't let it go. For the next 3 days, I checked the dates of every file. Date of birth, admission date, age, treatment, everything. We were all doing the same thing, though no one admitted it. Then Sophie made things even worse. Of course it would be Sophie. Thursday morning, I arrived at the basement a little early and found her standing deep inside our designated area. That section had red stickers on it. During orientation, we had been told those sections were pending review, meaning don't touch them. "Sophie," I said, "what are you doing here?" She didn't even turn around, just said, "Looking." She had an open file in her hand. "Joel, the entire row is full of these." "Full of what?" Now she turned to face me. There was no fear in her eyes, rather such confusion, as if she had seen something that the human brain simply cannot comprehend. She very quietly said, "Files of people who were never born." I went and stood beside her. The files in that section weren't arranged alphabetically. They were all sorted by date of birth, and the dates of birth, not wrong. Impossible. I pulled out a file. David Allen Crow, date of birth, August 22nd, 2012. The file was thick, at least 80 pages. I opened the first page. Admission date, March 15th, 1998. My hands went cold because the file belonged to someone who hadn't been born yet. David Allen Crow had apparently been admitted to Hollowfield Memorial 14 years before he was born. I opened the entire file. Childhood vaccinations, annual checkups, report of a broken hand at age 9, allergy tests, tonsil surgery at age 12, dental treatment. There was even a growth chart, a complete medical history of an entire childhood. The problem was, when this file was created, that childhood hadn't happened yet. The boy hadn't been born yet. My throat was drying up. "This makes no sense," I said. Sophie slowly nodded. "Right," she said. "Not at all." Then we started pulling out more files. Dozens upon dozens, all the same. Birth dates of 2000, 2010, even 2020. But the files were created in the 90s, and the most terrifying thing was, the paper was genuinely old. The ink was old. The typeface was old. These hadn't been newly made and slipped into old folders. These were genuinely documents from that time, where the lives of people were written who hadn't yet come into the world. I know this sounds insane. I was giving myself 1,000 explanations too. Maybe fake training files, maybe a database test, maybe some very elaborate prank, because I wasn't ready yet to think of the other explanation. Before the rest of the team arrived, we had pulled 47 files from that row. When Marcus and Raj came and saw us in that forbidden section, Marcus's face immediately hardened. "We shouldn't be here," he said. There was something in his voice that I hadn't heard before. Not fear, rather a feeling, as if he already knew something was wrong with this place. Sophie held up a file. "Look at this, born 2015, file created 1993, has a complete adolescence medical history." Marcus looked at the file for a long time without saying anything, then very slowly put it back in the cabinet and closed the drawer. Clang. The sound echoed through the entire basement. "Flag it," he said. "Report it. Nothing more." "Marcus!" "Sophie." Now there was something firm in his voice. "Don't touch these." He was right. According to procedure, ethically, professionally, his decision was the correct one. And we should have done exactly that. The thing I still question myself about for not doing. Keith came that Friday for his weekly visit. We showed him only the flagged files from Section M, the ones Ellen had found. 11 abnormal records in total. We deliberately said nothing about the restricted row that Sophie and I had seen. The section with the red stickers. Why we didn't say anything, I'm not sure. Maybe fear. Maybe the thought that there could be trouble for entering without permission. Or maybe we both knew that if we told the truth, no one would take it seriously. Keith took the files and looked at them very normally. Only 4 minutes. Flipped through 2 files, nodded 2 or 3 times, then said, "Good work, I'm sending these to compliance. Probably an old system filing issue. Nothing to worry about." Then he put the files in his briefcase, clicked it shut, and left. At that moment, nothing seemed abnormal, just uncomfortably normal. But the following Monday, the files were gone. I checked the digital log. No record, not scanned, not uploaded, not even a note. I asked Ellen if she had kept a copy. She hadn't. Raj, Sophie, no one had. As if 11 people had never existed at all. That was the first moment. I realized this wasn't just an error. This had weight. That same day I stayed late. Told the others I was finishing backlog. Technically not a lie. But the truth was, I went back to that restricted row. The section with the red stickers. This time I had brought something. Not a laptop, not a phone, a notebook. I don't even know why, but there was some feeling. If this gets heard somewhere, it shouldn't be on a network. I started writing in the notebook. Every file, name, date of birth, filing date, and a brief description. 3 hours later, my hand was hurting. But I didn't stop because what I was writing wasn't just abnormal. It was slowly becoming impossible. 63 files, all the same pattern, all the same impossibility. But the most terrifying thing wasn't the number, it was the accuracy. One file had a patient named Sarah Lynn Morrison, born April 3rd, 2001. File created in 1989. Written in her medical history at age 11, juvenile onset type 1 diabetes was diagnosed, and it was diagnosed in March 2012 at Riverside Children's Clinic in Columbus. That night I went back to my apartment and searched for the name Sarah Lynn Morrison. It took almost 40 minutes to find her. She was on Facebook, a 22-year-old woman living in Columbus, Ohio. In her profile pictures, you could see she had an insulin pump attached to her waist. I sat holding my phone, staring straight ahead, until the clock read 3. The file was created in 1989. Sarah Morrison was born in 2001. But every medical detail in that file, everyone I could verify, was correct. A real person's entire medical history had been written 12 years before she was born, and it was filed away in the basement of that hospital in Dayton. That night I didn't sleep. Many nights after that, I didn't sleep properly either. The next day I told the entire team everything. 63 files, notes from the notebook, Sarah Morrison's Facebook profile. I showed them the phone screen. Marcus stayed quiet for a long time. Ellen took off her glasses and cleaned them. That was her thinking habit. Raj tried to smile awkwardly, but no one responded. Then he went quiet. Sophie said, "We have to go back down." Marcus immediately said, "Sophie," but she cut him off. "No, listen." Now there was urgency in her voice. "Keith took those files and they vanished. If we go through proper channels again, the same thing will happen. They'll disappear again, and we'll never know what they were. Don't you want to know the truth?" Marcus slowly said, "What I want is to keep my job and not get involved in something beyond my responsibility." Sophie looked at him. "There are files here that claim to be the medical histories of people who haven't been born yet, and in some cases, everything checks out. This isn't an error. This is something else." Silence fell over the room. The fluorescent light hummed. In the distance came the sound of a file cabinet slowly closing. Marcus finally said, 3 days. We take 3 days, document as much as we can, then we go to someone outside, a journalist, a lawyer, anyone. We all agreed. 3 days, then we divided up. I took the section Sophie had first found, the files arranged chronologically with future birth dates. Sophie took the adjacent section, which was filled with another kind of impossible records. Ellen took a section further back, near a wall, where a rolling shelf had been pushed in a way that seemed like the space was deliberately hidden. Raj was taking pictures with his phone. Marcus was managing time and keeping watch on the door. The first day we found the same things as before. What I had already seen, impossible medical histories. The entire lives of people who hadn't been born yet, written out. But the deeper we went, the nature of the files changed. In Sophie's section was something that I can only give one name: outcome files. These were no longer medical histories. These were death certificates, hundreds, all written in advance, all predated. One file had the death certificate of a woman named Grace Okoro. Cause: metastatic pancreatic cancer. Date of death: 2019. File created: 1996. Another was for a 6-year-old boy named Elijah Watts. Cause of death: drowning. Date of death: 2024. File created: 2001. In 2001, someone wrote a death certificate for a death that hadn't happened yet. That perhaps had just happened now. I stopped even writing this line because thinking about it makes my head go strange. When Sophie came back, you could see from her face that something had broken inside her. She sat quietly in her chair, didn't speak a word for nearly 20 minutes. Ellen's section was different. Behind that hidden wall, she found a door. Not a regular door. A heavy hospital-style industrial door. Reinforced frame, and a modern keycard reader, completely different from everything else in this basement. Ellen held her ID badge up. No response. Red light stayed on. "There's something in there," Ellen said. Sound comes through the door, like a buzzing, as if some machine is running. Raj said, "Probably the HVAC system. Old basements have that." Ellen nodded. "Probably," she said, but there was no conviction in her voice. On the second day, I found something that changed everything. I was working deep in my section. There was a cabinet pressed hard against the back wall. The bottom drawer was stuck. When I pulled hard, a folder slipped out into the gap between the cabinet and the wall. I was forced to move the entire cabinet. That's when I saw it, a shelf attached to the wall. I had never seen it before, bolted to the metal wall. On that shelf were 7 black binders, all the same kind, no labels, unusually heavy. I opened the first one. The first page was a cover sheet. Typewriter font, Courier. It read, Hollowfield Memorial Hospital Project, Antibiotic Phase 3, Predictive Patient Modeling Confidential Level 404, clearance required. Below that was written, June 1987, and at the very end, one line. All files generated under this project are to be treated as active patient records, regardless of temporal status. I understood then, we hadn't just found files. We were standing on something that writes people into the future, regardless of temporal status. I read that line 4 times. Then it no longer seemed like just a line. It felt like something that had wrongly become real. I turned the pages. What I found next was no longer like a story. It was a procedural manual, clinical language, dry, official, unnervingly cold. I didn't understand everything. Many terms were medical, many technical, things I wasn't familiar with, but I understood enough, more than enough for me. Project Antivide was, according to this document, a joint project between Hollowfield Memorial Hospital and an unknown institution called the Foundation Partner. The objective was written in one line: to create future medical documents for individuals who have not yet come into existence. I paused for a moment, then read it again. Same line. They were making medical files for people from the future. And this was from 1987. The manual described the entire process. Data was collected: genetic, demographic, environmental, social patterns. Then all of it was inputted into a system, the engine. Output came from this engine, complete medical histories of people who hadn't been born yet. Then those files were printed and placed into real folders, down in the pit, in the physical archive. No digital copy, no backup, just paper. And there were rules, written in bold. 1. Project Antivide files may never be removed from their designated section. 2. Copying, photographing, transcription prohibited. 3. Access only with level 4 clearance. 4. Cross-referencing with any external patient database prohibited. 5. If any generated file matches a real individual, report immediately. Do not investigate on your own. 6. May not contact those individuals. 7. May not discuss outside. Reading Rule 5 made my head go cold. If a match is found with a real individual, they knew. They knew there would be matches. They were expecting it. I had already violated Rule 5 with Sarah Morrison. I had found her, confirmed her existence. And Rule 6, may not contact them under any circumstances. Why? What would happen if you did? I brought the binder to the others. We sat on the floor, pages turned one by one. No one spoke, no one made a joke. The fluorescent light hummed. In the distance, a file cabinet slowly shifted. The second binder was even worse. A log, the complete history of Project Antivide. Every entry contained file number, name, date of birth, and on the far right, one word. Most common was stable. Some were flagged, and some very few converging. There was no explanation, no legend, no definition. But reading the word converging made something sink in my stomach. Converging toward what? What was mixing with what? The third binder made Ellen cry. It was a sub-project. Phase 3-B, retroactive integration. According to the document, when any Antivide file reached converging status, it was then merged with real patient records. Quietly, silently, without any note. No one knew. Half of a person's medical history was pre-written long before they were born. They're actually inserting fake records into real people's files, Ellen said very quietly. These people have no idea. They see a doctor, the doctor pulls their history, and half of it was written in 1990 in whatever this thing is. But the records are accurate, I said. Sarah Morrison's file was completely accurate. If all the predictions are right, where's the problem? Ellen looked at me. There was no anger in her eyes. There was a cold kind of compassion. Joel, she said, think once. If that prediction also includes the cause of death, the room suddenly got much colder. Sophie's death certificates. Hundreds, all pre-written, all predated. If the medical history is true, if the engine really predicts the future correctly, then the death certificates are also true. Meaning, stored in this basement are papers that say who will die when and how they will die, and they are all still alive. Thinking about this made my chest tighten. We have to check, Sophie said. Her voice was calm, unnervingly calm. We have to cross-check against public records. Sophie, Marcus said. Listen, she cut him off. Some death dates have already passed. If the medical files are correct, the death certificates could be correct too. We need to verify. And then what? Marcus asked. What do we do with that information? No one answered, because no one had an answer. But we need to know if this is real, Sophie said. That night I checked from my apartment. Took 5 death certificates, the ones whose dates had already passed. I searched obituaries, news archives, death records. 3 out of 5 matched. Grace Okoro died October 2019. Cause, metastatic pancreatic cancer. Her obituary was in the Columbus Dispatch. Her husband and 2 children survived her. The death certificate filed in the Hollifield basement in 1996 had exactly the same information. Same year, same city, same cause. Robert Faulkner died March 2016, cardiac arrest. Following a dental procedure, I found a local news article, a malpractice case. His family's lawsuit, and in the Antivide file was written cardiac event, procedural complication, dental, in the year 2016. I was staring at the screen and couldn't tell, was I reading information or a history of someone's future, already written? Elijah Watts, a 6-year-old boy, drowned. The file had said 2024. I searched for a long time, then found it. A news report from this April. 6-year-old Elijah Watts of Kettering, Ohio, drowned in his backyard pool at home, just 17 miles from Hollowfield Memorial Hospital. The death certificate in the basement was created in 2001, meaning 23 years before his death, and long before he was even born. I threw up in the bathroom sink, then sat on the floor, until the sun came up, the third day, our last day. According to Marcus's plan, we were no longer like before. None of us had slept properly. Dark circles under the eyes, trembling hands. Even holding a coffee cup made the body shake. But still we didn't stop, because stopping now meant living with what we had seen. And that wasn't possible. Ellen's hidden door behind the wall was now our focus, from inside which came the sound like buzzing. The sound of machines, which sounded like the source of everything. The files were just output, but behind this door was the input. Raj had been thinking about one thing, the keycard system. This is a castle system, he said. Same brand on the upper floors too, meaning connected to the same network. He paused briefly. If I get a maintenance badge, I can get in. Where from? I asked. Raj smiled slightly, but it wasn't really a smile. I've been talking to a girl from the facilities department for 3 weeks. Name's Carmen. She thinks I'm very charming. Sophie looked at him. Are you actually charming? She asked. Enough, Raj said. Enough to borrow a badge for an hour. We had to wait until afternoon. Then Raj came back, a temporary badge attached to his shirt. Strange urgency in his eyes. I told her HVAC inspection, he said. She gave it to me. We have time, until she figures it out. We gathered in front of the door. Ellen stepped aside, moved the rolling shelf. The door was now fully visible, heavy, gray, like a vault. The red light of the key card reader stared at us. Marcus looked at each of us once. There was exhaustion on his face. You can still leave if you want, he said. No one moved. Raj scanned the badge. Beep, green light lit up, a heavy metallic clunk sound. The lock opened. Marcus pushed the door open. The first thing I noticed, the air was different here. Stepping through the door felt like my breath had gotten heavier. Cold, dry, and a slight chemical smell. Not like a lab, but like standing inside a server room. And there was a sound, continuous, a low-frequency hum. You don't quite hear it with your ears. You feel it in your chest. Like some enormous machine is always running. You notice it at first, then stop noticing it separately. But it slowly builds pressure inside your head. The corridor on the other side of the door was different. Not like the rest of the basement. Floor was polished concrete, walls a perfectly even shade of gray, and the lights, not fluorescent. Small LED lights set into the ceiling. Completely flat, shadow-free light. Everything so clean, it felt unnatural. We walked one by one, Marcus in front, then me, then Sophie, Ellen, and at the very back, Raj. No one was talking. Only the sound of our own footsteps could be heard. But the strange thing was, it seemed like this corridor was not as short as it appeared. After walking nearly 40 feet, the corridor opened up into a massive room. Massive is actually not the right word. It was more than that. Ceiling at least 20 feet high, and the room extended so far that the LED lights ended and disappeared into darkness. No end wall was visible, and in the middle rows upon rows of machines lined up. Not file cabinets, not shelves, machines, each about as large as a refrigerator. Black, matte finish. No screens, no buttons, no interface. Just a small light in front, a dime-sized indicator light. Some green, some amber, and the most unsettling thing, all of them were making sound. The same hum, the one we'd been hearing all this time. This was that sound. Raj whispered, "What? What is this?" No one answered. Sophie moved first. She went up to a machine at the very front. Put her hand on it. This is warm, she said, and vibrating. Don't touch anything, Marcus said, but there was no longer the same authority in his voice. He was lost himself. I started walking along the aisle, through the middle of 2 rows of machines. Each had a small metal plate attached, serial number, and a date. I leaned close to one, read, Unit AV-0037, active 1987 to present cohort, 2005 to 2029. I stared at it for a few seconds. 2005 to 2029, a range of 24 years, which matched exactly with the birth dates of the files upstairs. And then I understood. We hadn't found files. We had walked into the machine that makes the files. These are the engines, I said. My own voice sounded unfamiliar to me, very calm, unnervingly calm. This is where the files are created. This isn't possible, Ellen said. She had come and stood beside me, reading the labels on the machines. A prediction system like this in 1987, not even with today's technology could you predict the future medical outcomes of an individual this precisely. It just can't be done. I said, but the files are accurate. Ellen said nothing more. We spent nearly 45 minutes exploring the entire room. 112 machines. I counted, all arranged in rows, in order by cohort date, the oldest unit, AV-0001. In a distant corner, cohort range 1990 to 2008. Its light was amber, not green. The newest one I found, AV-0112, cohort 2040 to 2068, meaning this system was expected to keep running for at least another 44 years. As if there was no option to stop. At the far end of the room was another door. Different from the rest, it had a window, about 8 inches square, heavy reinforced glass. I pressed my face to the glass. Inside a small control room, desk, chair, several monitors. The monitors were on, light could be seen, but writing couldn't be read. And on the back wall, a massive screen, like a piece of artwork. But it wasn't art. On it was a grid, thousands of tiny boxes, and inside every box a photograph, faces, hundreds of faces, arranged in rows. Are those patients? I said. The people in the files? Them? Sophie pressed her face to the glass beside mine. Are these real photos, taken from somewhere, or generated? Can't tell from here. We need to get inside, she said. The control room door had no key card. It had a combination lock, old-style dial, completely mechanical, no digital system. As if deliberately chosen, something that couldn't be hacked, couldn't be tracked remotely. We can't open this, Marcus said, and we shouldn't try. Marcus is right, Ellen said. But she was still staring at the glass. We've seen enough. No more. We need to get out. And then what? Sophie said. Who do we go to? Police. Tell them we found a future predicting machine in a hospital basement. They'll think we're crazy. A journalist, I said, one who covers institutional corruption. We give them everything, files, pictures, location. Someone will understand this. Foundation partner, Raj said. He had been quiet all along, scrolling through pictures on his phone. This name was in the binder. We need to find this. We all agreed. Get out, document, report outside. Marcus's plan. Everything seemed fine until we turned back toward the door. That's when the sound changed. The hum. The same, but not the same. Like a song suddenly shifting to a different key. The vibration in the chest changed frequency. Not calm, now aware, as if something had noticed us. The LED lights in the corridor flickered, this time not randomly. All together, in a pattern, like blinking eyes. Let's go, Marcus said. Right now. We ran, through the machine room, past the semicircle of dead red units. Through the heavy door, back into the familiar, dirty, fluorescent basement. Raj pulled the door shut, turned the wheel lock, the metal screamed. We kept running. Through the old brick tunnel, steam pipes, hanging lights, then a ladder. We came up one by one. Finally opening the grate, we emerged into the loading dock, and the outside light, sunlight, as if despite everything, the world was still moving along normally. We collapsed onto the concrete floor of the loading dock. Breathing was difficult, bodies shaking, not even the strength to speak. Raj was crying. Sophie was breathing rapidly, almost losing control. Marcus stood leaning with both hands on his knees, drawing deep breaths. I took out my phone. We had been in the tunnel for 41 minutes. We sat there for a long time. No one spoke. Normal sounds drifted from inside the hospital. A gurney rolling, a phone ringing, someone's laughter. A normal world, and we were standing beneath it, in some other reality. Marcus spoke first. We're not going back. We're not talking about this anymore. We quit our jobs tomorrow. Sophie was about to say something. Marcus stopped her. This isn't a discussion, Joel. All of us are leaving. Whatever that thing is. Project Antivide. This is something we can't stop or expose. If we try, we'll end up like Ellen. We don't know what happened to Ellen. Marcus looked at him. And that's enough. We quit our jobs. The next morning, all four of us emailed in our resignations. No notice, no exit interview. I emptied my locker, turned in my badge, and at 9:15 in the morning, I walked out of the hospital. HR's Dana Briggs called me that afternoon. Her voice was very professional. Was there any problem in the work environment? She said. We value feedback. No, I said. I'm leaving. Are you sure? I'm leaving, Dana. A moment of silence. Then her voice changed slightly. Less warm, less human. Like someone reading a script. Joel, she said, your employment agreement contained a confidentiality clause. Any breach regarding the systems and materials you were exposed to will be handled appropriately. Then the phone went dead. I sat in my room staring at the wall. Wall white, still, no doors. I checked. 2 weeks passed with nothing. I started thinking it was over. We had gotten out alive. I looked for work, went to the grocery store, talked to my mother, tried to live normally, and every day the distance from that incident grew a little. Sophie would sometimes message in the group chat. Raj would send memes. Marcus spoke less, but was there. We no longer talked about Hollofield. Not about Project Antivide, not about Ellen either. Then one day Sophie stopped replying. It was a Wednesday. She had been in the group chat in the morning. Cat pictures, complaints about job applications. By afternoon, her messages stopped. At night, the phone went to voicemail. I called Raj. Have you heard from Sophie? Not since morning. I can't reach her. Silence, then Raj said. Her file said, active. I went straight to Sophie's apartment. This time the door was locked. I knocked for a long time. A neighbor came out. Said Sophie had gone out in the morning with a bag, had gotten into a dark sedan, no license plate. She was calm, the neighbor said, like she knew a car was coming for her. Sophie Voss was never seen again. I filed a police report. Raj did too. Marcus did too. The police took notes, but did nothing. 3 weeks later, a package came for me. It was left outside the door. No postage stamp, no return address, no courier markings, a plain brown envelope. Inside was a single piece of paper, a photocopy. Very poor quality, blurry, slightly crooked, as if hastily copied, but readable. It was the first page of a medical file. The header read Hollofield Memorial Hospital Project, Antivide patient name, brand, Joel David. My name, file number, AV-7751. The same number I'd seen on the screen. The file had an admission date written July 12, 1986. I was born in 1991. Below was a summary. Some lines, some parts lost to the copy quality. But readable. Predictive history summary. Subject of V-7751 shows high probability of unclear, with convergence factors accelerating beyond baseline projections. Recommended action, monitoring phase extended through unclear. Note, subject exhibits pattern recognition capacity in the 97th percentile, which may result in premature exposure to unclear. Contingency protocol, Larkspur to be held in reserve. Pattern recognition capacity in the 97th percentile. They had hired me for this. Not for me, for my perspective, for my capacity to notice. People who stop when they see something abnormal. Such people, who search things out, who make these discoveries. They had wanted us to find this. I turned the paper over. On the back, 2 lines written by hand in blue ink. Convergence is not prediction. Do not let them finish your file. I don't know who sent this. I don't know exactly what convergence means and what finishing the file means, but I know what I saw on the screen. Converging. Marcus and Raj were stable. Sophie was active. And I was converging. Something in between. Something is happening. I thought about Ellen's phone call, her email, her death announcement sent to her hours before she disappeared. Active doesn't mean the file is open. Active means the process is running, means the dying has begun. And converging means getting close. The distance between reality and the future is shrinking. The file is becoming true because it doesn't predict the future, it creates the future. And I can't finish without speaking about Marcus. After Sophie disappeared, Marcus completely withdrew. Didn't reply in the group chat. Didn't answer the phone. One day I went to his house. His wife Linda opened the door halfway and said Marcus wasn't well. Didn't want to see anyone. Fear was in her eyes. Not for me, for something inside. 2 months passed. January came. Cold, gray, heavy days. I stopped looking for work. Spent most of the time sitting on the sofa, searching for news about Ellen and Sophie. Finding nothing. My body was wasting away. Hands would tremble. Couldn't even hold a cup of coffee properly. On January 14th, Raj called me. He was crying. Marcus is dead. It happened in his own house, in his bedroom. Linda found him in the morning, sitting in bed. Eyes open, no breath, no blood, no trauma. Just death, as if someone had switched him off. The coroner's report said cardiac arrest of undetermined etiology. The heart had suddenly stopped. No one knows why. His age was 46. No history of heart disease. A report from 8 months ago had read excellent cardiovascular health. His file had said stable, and he died. I went to the funeral, a small ceremony. Linda stood in front, 2 daughters beside her, eyes vacant. Just the stillness of shock. I stood at the back, said nothing. Raj was near the door. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. At the end, after the ceremony, Raj pulled me aside. "Joel," he said, "I want to show you something." I couldn't do anything with this. The words came out as I spoke them, as if I wasn't really speaking, just sounds emerging. The folder is still sitting on the nightstand. Brant, Joel David D.O.B., June 11th, 1991. I can't take my eyes off it, but I can't open it either. I'm stuck in a strange space between the two, where the decision has been made, but the action hasn't happened. The air in the room feels heavy. Outside the window, the street is empty. No cars, no light properly visible. Only the motel sign flickering now and then. I stood up, went and stood beside the folder. It looks so ordinary that the fear feels even worse. No lock, no warning, just a paper thing, claiming to hold my entire life. I slowly reached out my hand, stopped, lowered my hand again. Right then, the soft sound inside the room changed. The hum that was there before is no longer a single sound. Now it's fragmented, layered, as if coming from many far places at once, but all pressing together in one spot. I couldn't tell whether it was coming from outside or from inside my head. The paper of the folder moved very slightly. I froze. No one knocked on the door, but the feeling of someone standing outside the door was clear. A long time passed with no one doing anything. Then a sound, very soft. "Joel." I went still. This wasn't my voice, not from inside the room either. From just outside the door. I slowly looked toward the door. The handle slowly moved down, as if someone had gripped it, but it wasn't opening, just there. waiting. I look back. The folder seemed a little closer than before. I can swear it hadn't moved, but the distance had shrunk. The hum was no longer just sound. It had a rhythm now. Slow, regular, exactly like a person breathing. No, someone's breath. I can't write anymore, because if I write, it won't end. And if I don't write, then maybe it won't begin. The folder is open now. I don't remember when I opened it. I'm looking at the first page inside, and written there, final entry, subject awareness achieved. That was the last page. I don't know what I'm doing now, writing or just being made to write. The light in the room has dimmed a lot now. Or maybe the light is fine, but my eyes aren't working properly anymore. The folder is now open in my lap. I can't close it, because my hand doesn't feel like mine. The sound outside has stopped. No, not stopped. Changed. Now it's no longer a hum. Now it's a breath, heard from very close, as if someone is sitting beside me, but I don't want to look. I don't know if this is a final note. I don't know if anyone will read this, but if you have, remember one thing: your name is written somewhere too. Maybe in some file, maybe in some drawer, maybe in some place you haven't seen yet. I'm no longer sure who I am, Joel Brandt, or just a line, an entry, words inside a file. The door is opening now. This time no one is calling. This time no one is waiting either. Just present. I can't write anymore. If this ends, you'll understand. Everything started with just a simple file.